record it if it's on TV and watch it back like later on tonight. So yeah, it's on record at the minute, but I've got it on another monitor.
What's the season ticket cost at Norwich? Is it decent?
I think we're one of the more expensive ones in the Championship. I think we're definitely easily top 3. We used to be the most expensive because I think it's about 45 quid a month. And yeah, you're literally paying all 12 months of the year, so there's no break from it. I think we did have our letters come through, obviously recent-ish. I think it was like, I want to say it was like 600 odd.
That's not bad for me. For 46 games, it's not bad, is it?
No, not bad at all. We've got decent seats as well. I mean, we are in the quieter end of the stadium because that's what he prefers, but we're front row of the upper tier.
Okay,
So.
are you like behind the goal, or are you like on the side?
Yeah, we're just off to one side of the goal, but we're the upper tier, but we're the very front row of it. So we got nice leg room as well and everything like that. So I don't mind sacrificing not being in the loud end just to have a bit more comfort.
No, that's fair. This is good. Turn this up a little bit because I know for F1 I've always got to turn my microphone up because people go, "Oh, I'm spiking into red." We do not want that. That is loud. That's peeking into red still. This is welcome to the world of streaming where you literally just go into you might see you peek into red. There we go, still peeking into reds. That's fine. That works. Oh, I tell you what, we've actually done quite well for the majority being in the lobby. Not everyone's here yet, but I mean, we're not doing too bad. Not doing too bad. Fellas, welcome aboard. Race night 4 here. Of course, we stay in the United States. We were in Miami last week. We're in Vegas this week. Just getting everyone in and lobbied up after they've had their cup games and their FIFA games and whatnot. So we should be ready to go imminently. So do not worry. Yeah, said it's no sprint tonight, just a standard race. So we're going to be just going straight to quali, where we'll be dissecting the race, giving you the standings from last week and all the usual build-up, me and Sergio, and then, of course, the race tonight. Staying in the continent, or well, moving slightly south into the continent next week as well. We're in Brazil in week 5 because I tell you this much, I'm a big fan of Brazil. Even though I don't race, I do like the track at Brazil. So yeah. So Miami tonight, Brazil next week, as we get ready to go here tonight. And I told Michael.
Vegas tonight.
Yeah, sorry, Vegas. Yeah, I keep flipped it the wrong way around. Okay, I told Michael I'd be here on time. I'd be here early because, like I said last week, when I plugged everything in, I plugged the camera into the wrong USB port, the mic into the wrong USB port, flipped it around. Should have been the other way around. And I then therefore was about 10 minutes late because my microphone was buzzing and my camera was flickering. So now I know what ports to plug them into for the capture card and for F1 and stuff. It's all to do with the capture card. I've got you should see the setup that's on my floor right now. I've got like trailing cables everywhere. I feel like I'm a literal health risk in terms of fucking people tripping over and whatnot. So it's fantastic. But yeah, so we should be starting imminently. Everyone just kind of slowly making their way towards the lobby. As per usual, you'll have a couple of slow stragglers who will maybe join in mid-quali. So, yeah, but we're all pretty much nearly there and ready to go. So, game week, I nearly said, but race week 4 out of 10. Still the tracks to go, of course. There's Vegas tonight. That's done. But Brazil, Belgium, Monza, Bahrain, Austria, and Britain all still very much to go. And that's a big thing as well. Michael just adding everyone there. Make sure you've got VL Sergio added in case any of you disconnect. Hopefully he adds us back. Sergio, make sure you remember to add everyone back. All right. I don't want anyone kind of
just link from my PayPal as well.
I don't even know how to, because Neddy's just added me. I don't even know how to like accept it. Is it the back button? I think it is.
Yeah, it's yeah.
Friends. Benchwarmer. Again, if you can add me, I can accept you as well, fellas, if you're listening to this. I don't mind. Whatever's easier. But yeah. Okay. Okay. I'm going into quali. Fantastic. All right. You guys have to join in quali. That's fine. So yeah, we know that Neymar is coming in. Neymar's just said no quali again, baby. So he's... we know Neymar's going to be with us, but he's not going to be with us for qualifying. Well, listen, we're in Vegas. Then we could do a bit of the build-up then while these guys start to get themselves all prepared. Surti saying he loves Vegas. Sergio, you are the race wizard, aren't you? You are the man with all the stats, all the figures, all the numbers, the barometer of whether a track is good, bad, or indifferent. What is the community consensus on Vegas, and then what is your personal opinion on Vegas? A fan of this, not a fan of this, or are we in for a good race, a bad race? What do you think?
It should be a great race all around. In general, for the track, there's a lot of long straights, and we do have two DRS zones as well to play with, but there's long sweeping corners as well. We can get a lot of side-by-side action. It is a street circuit, I get that, but with the lengthy straights, there's plenty of opportunities there for some clean overtaking.
Oh, so, well, look, you don't see this often in Vegas, do you, Sergio? Look at that. There's a little bit of rain on the screen here, so that could be interesting in terms of, changing the way this... I've never seen Vegas in the rain. I can't lie. I don't think I ever have. So that's very interesting to me. Oh, we're migrating host. We may not get the rain after all. The lobby's restarting. Oh, we better have rain. You better put it on, Michael, so we got rain. That's absolutely horrendous. I wanted rain. We've been cucked out of the weather. So, there you go. Let's try to figure out why we had the restart there. It says quali 1, so... yeah, I think Michael put it on full qualifying by accident, so it's going to be a restart there. Cannot deal with this race in the dry, says Cons. Did not want to see it in the rain. Well, I wanted to see it in the rain because I'm a master of chaos. I mean, I guess we'll see, but that's a shame. So I've never ever seen Vegas in the rain, and I've done this for a good few months now, but what can you do? So, I mean, we'll wait until we get back into the lobby because the menu music in this game is absolutely abhorrently loud. So I've got more questions for you about the track tonight, Sergio, but we'll wait until we're back with it. But yeah, if everyone is not present as to what's happening, make sure that you lobby up with us again, and we'll go from there. So, but yeah, people are clearly saying that qualifying was absolutely in the rain. It was. I wonder if Michael can set that or not. He's done full quali. Yeah. Hopefully we can at least get the wet quali back. But we'll see. I don't know if I'm in the right lobby or not. It's just me and Michael at the minute, but...
I was going to say, I'm not in the lobby at all, so I'm just waiting for the invites to go out if they haven't already.
Yeah. Well, Craig's just joined this one, so I imagine this is the correct lobby then, so I'll ping you one. There you go. Yeah, we've got blazer guns. Yeah, everyone's kind of lobbying into this one now, so yeah, we're in the right place. Fantastic. It's actually crazy how loud this gate. Jesus Christ, I feel like I'm in a fucking nightclub. Oh, we're back to these wonderful names, are we, Tilla? Sebastian Vitilla. Fantastic. We're fully role playing it. Love that from you, Tilla. Yeah, as well, fellas, if anyone is in the stream chat as well, make sure you help each other out, invite everyone in. And if you're listening as well, you can just join off people's profiles. If you've got anyone in the lobby added, just go to their profile, join game. It'll be all good. So, yeah. So a bit of a false start after Michael cucks us all. Put it on full qualifying by accident. Sadly, not all of us can be here until the late hours. So full quali off the menu. I would love to see at one point some sort of milestone event for the VFL F1 League, like the 50th race in total or whatever, where we literally have like a full quali, like 100% race. Just really make it like an 8-hour thing. Only the strong survives type thing. That'd be funny, but we're still quite a way away from that. Well, everyone's starting to slowly peter back in. We've got Michael and Bailey there as well, so that's the 16 that we originally had, and then of course we're going to gain 1 or 2 during qualifying as well. So, yep, we're pretty much there and ready enough once again. But yeah. And again, I don't know if anyone else has added me yet or not, but we'll check it. No, we're all good. Yeah, so if anyone, I know, like, for example, Bench, you've added me. If, for example, Bench, that you, if you, like, lag out or whatever, then just come into the stream chat and just kind of yell at me and be like, oi, invite me. I'll do my best to kind of get you back in, so, yes. Okay. That's all good as well. I should get these graphics for the standings up also, so we can whack this up and this up as well. Lovely. Okay. All right, everyone, ready up, please. Ready up, ready up, ready up. We've got 18 in the lobby now, so it looks like we've gained someone else that was just slow to get in. So, yeah, I mean, we're going to have near enough a full grid. Said Neymar's still to come as well, so we're going to at least have 19. So that's quite a quality result, lads. Well in. And we go again for qualifying. Here we go, then. Take 2 after Michael cucked us all with full quali. And we are on our way. Cons for P6, we can hope. All right, now that I'm not in the absolute nightclub that is the main menus of F1 25, Sergio. So, again, you said, you know, a race tonight where you like it. It's a street circuit. Yes, you've got those 2 DRS zones. Because of the 2 DRS zones, are you looking at this one as a bit more of a, how would you describe it? A bit more of a, like, it's not a technically, I don't know how I want to word this. It's not a track that requires a lot of technical brilliance in terms of F1 because you've got those 2 zones. And do you think that makes it more of a technical track? How do those 2 DRS zones impact the difficulty of this track for you?
Not, I don't think they change it massively. But obviously there are 2 major points in this circuit where it is going to come into play, and that's obviously going to be the braking zones. Bearing in mind, this is a street circuit, and street circuits in general have a lot more dirt, dust, all that sort of stuff on them. So it can benefit vehicles in terms of their tyres lasting longer, but it also could pull some of that grip away. So it's good in the long run, but bad in short term when you need that extra bit of grip, maybe to get an overtake done or around the outside of someone, which is a risky maneuver anyway. It's one of those things might get taken away, but the track in general is really nice if you like straight lines and slow winding corners. There's a lot of big turns here and plenty of opportunities to get the job done.
There you go. Thank you as well so much for the follow, Rose. Don't mind me, I'm just floating up the screen as we can at least see the map for tonight. Do you think that this is what, again, a street circuit? Yes. I mean, I kind of already know the answer, but just want to get your confirmation. Do you expect this one tonight then to have the possibility of, you know, an increased amount of safety cars? What are the safety car kind of stats for this track in real life? Do you expect there to be a bit of chaos and carnage tonight, or not so much?
Well, this track, believe it or not, is actually a very 50-50 circuit. And I think it's only 50-50 in terms of both the actual safety car and the virtual safety car. The only reason it's that high is because it's a new track. Drivers aren't familiar with it yet. It's still new to the calendar. I think one of the newest additions, actually. So you do need time, which sounds crazy. Steering away from, obviously, the guys that we're going to watch tonight, but just looking at the real F1 drivers, you know, that they still need time to acclimatise to it. It's not something you just pick up just like that and be amazing at it. So it does take a little bit of time, and that 50% comes from those teams that tend to be lower half of the grids, just losing a bit of grip, maybe tapping a tyre against the wall, because it's places like here where you'll see them come out of an exit of a corner, hit some rumble strips, and with the tyres bouncing along the rumble strips because they aren't exactly smooth, that sends the car into the wall, causing a safety car. And because it's a street circuit, there is no escape zone, there is no safe way for a car to stop on this circuit. So it's a case of, even if people were to retire mid-race, doesn't matter where their car is, the likelihood is we will see a safety car this evening in this race. But according to the stats, it is a 50-50 chance.
All right, well, there you go. I mean, away from safety cars, then, if we're 50-50 on that, is this more of a track than what you can maybe say to yourself? Okay, the possibility of ending in a blazing inferno and dying on the track tonight, kind of low, maybe 50-50, maybe low. Is this going to be a track, though, which is going to be defined by penalties, by, exceeding track limits and, the pit lane in particular as well? We've seen a couple of people pick up 10-second penalties for speeding in the pit lane. Is it going to be a penalty-driven track tonight?
I think the penalties are certainly going to have a factor, but it shouldn't be as big of a factor as it has been in previous sessions, purely because there's not as many places on this circuit to actually cut the corner. There's a few corners that will stick out, and we'll see those as the cars go around doing their laps, where you'll see loads of green paint on the inside or other vibrant paint, and that is obviously the off-track zones, and they're going to be the easiest places to cut corners. But you've got to remember, when cars are fighting, there is a chance that they could exceed limits, but it's not as easy to do it down some of the straight lines, because obviously the walls are the edge of the circuit. There is nothing between the white line and the wall. So it's a case of, if you're going to get an off-track, you're also going to have contact with the wall or potentially another car, making things even worse. So I think they will have an effect, but not as big as what we've seen before.
Awesome. Well, so far, Ryan Parker, and Craig R, they're both coming in and setting their laps as two of the first people to cross the line. 1:31.6 or 1:31.9, and Roswell there for 1:31.9 as well. For you, again, we talk about, the expectation in terms of timings on tracks usually. What are we looking at today? Are we looking at a 1:30? Are we looking at a 1:29? If you're a fast boy like Chissy and Tilla, what do you think?
Yeah, we're probably looking towards, I would say, somewhere around the 1:30s to the high 1:20s. So I'd say 1:29 will be the wow, gobsmacked kind of time.
Okay.
But yeah, in terms of basing off the real life lap time, it's a 1:34 set by Lando Norris in 2024. So not even the quickest version of the McLaren. Obviously, the most recent one was the most quickest. But the thing is, with the real lap times, you take off maybe about 2 to 3 seconds, and that should give you the lap times of these sessions.
Okay.
So that would sit in the realms of like 1:30 to 1:31. So I think knowing Chissy, he'll beat that like he normally does. So 1:29, I think, will be his point, and then the rest will follow from there.
Well, there you go. And of course, no sign of what I like to call the qualifying wizard. Kayla, good evening to you as well. No sign of the qualifying wizard. We call him the Grand Slam quali champion in VRL Kieran. Always does so well in the qualies with his times, but no sign of him yet. Is he asleep? Is he not? Again, he's got the sleeping pattern of an Australian. Maybe he'll be here. Maybe he won't be here. We know that, of course, it was touch and go. He played in the VFL Fantasy League Super Bowl yesterday, and he was having a 3-hour nap before that. Keep in mind, the Super Bowl was at about 10:15, so it wouldn't be too much of a shock to see that Kieran is not here tonight, because he has passed out in the driver's lounge. So far, though, a 1:31.4 from Lucas, and without VRL Kieran in the conversation, in the mix tonight, Sergio, you got to be thinking again, it's that kind of same old conversation. It's going to be that battle between Chissy and Tilla, or Sebastian Vettilla, as he's come in tonight as. But then that opens up the question, doesn't it, of third place, the podium position, because there's so many great drivers that are continuing to improve. Again, we've looked at the likes of Bench Warmer, we've looked at the likes of Shadows Gunner, of course, in the last couple of races, in the last couple of seasons in general. Ryan Parker on his day is a fantastic driver, so is Neddy. Blazer Gun's got that experience as a kind of, an endurance racer. I think tonight, for the first time I'm looking at this, I can't really put my finger on who's going to get third position. Of course, it's easy to say Jamsey, because technically he's such a fast driver, but it's not just about the speed from someone like Jamsey. It's more about, can he keep his elbows in? Can he not get those monstrous penalties that he took in the first, couple of race weeks? Who are you looking for tonight in that podium? Are you going Tilla, Chissy, and insert name, or are you thinking maybe Tilla or Chissy don't get in the top 3 tonight? What do you think?
I honestly think with how this track's set out compared to other circuits, I think anyone has a chance of getting in that top 3 tonight. Yes, okay, there's going to be some people that are evidently quicker than others. Like you can see the split is basically from P1 to P7 in the 131s and P8 down in the 132. So there is going to be a slight split there. But you look at sort of from P5 to P7, 3 cars there, all 131.9. So there is going to be tightness about it. And obviously when the DRS comes into play, it is more or less anyone's game. This is probably the closest track you can get to turning F1 into NASCAR. Where it is literally just a slipstream race. Pretty much all this circuit is. When you look at the map from top down on a map view, it looks like an upside down dead pig. And
it does. That's actually brilliant, by the way. I've never noticed that. That's actually brilliant.
It's pretty much shaped like that. If you were to get a child to draw a dead pig and they were on their back, that's what it would look like. And thanks to all those straights, it does really bring everyone into play. This is really up for anyone in total tonight. The win, top 3. I think obviously Chissy's going to set the benchmark, like he's already done so with the 131.3 there. But yeah, I think anyone could come in. And I was actually looking at potentially people like Rossi, for example, could potentially sneak into there with a good bit of DRS. Because remember, if you get that DRS on that last lap, that'll push you past that one person you may have been following this entire race. So a split second like that could change the lineup completely come the end of the session today.
Well, there you go. So it's all to play for here in Vegas. Of course, we'll have a look now quickly at those standings after the first 3 weeks. Of course, we were in Miami last week, but we can show you what the stats and the tables look like this time. Is this F1 any good? My last one was F1 21. Sergio, I'll let you take that question before we show the standings. Is this F1 any good? Is F1 25 worth it? Is it worth a pickup?
Yeah, I would say so. This is, in my opinion, is one of the most developed F1 games since those ones since like 2019 and sort of 2020 era. Those were great, and I'd say this is getting back up to that standard again. It did dip, don't get me wrong, but I think with all the stuff that's actually in the game now in the sim, it is a lot better. So yeah, I'd say it's worth the money, especially seeing as there's probably a slight discount on it at the minute or some sale somewhere. So you could probably pick it up cheap, and yeah, it's definitely worth it. I brought it the moment it came out, haven't regretted it since.
There you go. Well, let's talk about those stats and standings then as we go over here to the magical browser tab. Here we are then. So start off with the constructors. Of course, Chissy leading the way, 83 points to Shadow Gunners 41. Great to see him up there. Yeah, you could say he's not really competing with Chissy, is he? Because he's so far behind, but again, this is the table only 3 race weeks in. There's 10 race weeks to go. It just takes Chissy having a disaster in one race or missing one race, and for all you know, Shadowgunner's could be right up there. Tilla, of course, you'd expect to be kind of creeping on Chissy and giving him some sort of competition. For Kieran, listen, it's a case of the missing boy, isn't it? 36 points, looked fantastic in the first couple of races, but missed last week and now misses this week. That is the kind of inconsistency that costs Kieran the drivers' constructors. It always is the case. It's his availability and his consistency. Rye having a good season so far as well, 5th with 24 points. Jamsey, 20 points in my oh my. It could be so much more. He had so many penalties, big ones, of course, in race week 1 and 2. He had a 10-second penalty in race week 1 and another 10-second penalty in race week 2. You think if those didn't happen, how much more closer would he be to that 83 mark compared to where he is now? And of course, still drivers looking to get their first points on the board. 2 of them are with us tonight, as Surtees also just joined us. We've got a full lobby as we're talking for this through. But yeah, HDinho and Frost Tactic, 0 points. We'll be crossing our fingers and hoping for those minnows tonight to get on the grid, or in the finishing positions at least on the grid, and break their duck. So for now, the Red Bull and Chissy, very much the golden standard as we expect. But yeah, it's one of those where there's still so many. I'll flip this to the loud view. There's still so many race weeks to go. Looking at the other side of things, so we talk about the team constructors. This one a little bit more closer, and I think this is what you said last week, Sergio. This is actually, I think, the more intriguing battle to watch. The Red Bull versus the Ferrari. Only 6 points between the Red Bull and the Ferrari so far. Then you've got the Williams there, just 18 points or so, or my math, 24 points, excuse me, or so behind Ferrari. Do you see Red Bull or Ferrari slipping here? I mean, is this 3 weeks in? Yes, but is this as close to a confirmed battle as you can ask for? Are we going to see the Williams and Aston Martin creep up and, steal the team constructors, or do you just see the Red Bull and Ferrari dominating this for the rest of the season?
I think between this round and the next is going to be the deciding factor. In terms of that's when we're going to know, are we going to have other teams like Williams? I'm pretty sure you said there's Williams in third, but are we going to have teams like that holding them or pulling the top two down?
Yeah.
Or is it a case of they are going to run off with it and it's going to be like a shootout, like a Premier League Man City v Arsenal shootout for the title kind of thing? Is it going to be like that?
Don't include us in that after what I saw the other day, all right? We're not absolute garbage fodder team. Carry on though.
But that's the example, those, and that is a prime example as well. Those top two that you would expect to be up there, are they going to suddenly lose it? Is there going to be a couple of shock sort of defeats almost in there and be like, oh, okay, maybe this isn't on? But I think over this race, I think this race has been a bit optimistic, so I think next race will confirm whether it's going to be a two-horse showdown or if it's going to be a case of you might have a top four battle for it. But I think, this race and the next one is really going to prove whether Ferrari and Red Bull can take that next step to confirm that they're going to be fighting for, the championship.
There you go. Well, listen, it's going to be a fun one tonight, of course, and over the next couple of weeks, like I said, we're in Brazil next week. Can't wait for that one. But for now, listen, 4 minutes left of qualifying here. And so far still, Chissy, as you said, the benchmark, isn't he? 131.335. Rozzy, wow, as you said, you kind of hinted at him maybe being able to be a surprise here tonight. A 131.4, faster than Lucas, Benchwarmer, and even Tilla. That there is fantastic. But as we know, races aren't won in the qualies. They're won over those 25 laps of pure concentration and focus. Bailey saying filled in now for the last 2 weeks, and it's got to be the 2 out of 3 worst tracks in F1. I mean, that's what I've said this to you last week, didn't I? It just seems like the American tracks get so much kind of Marmite syndrome. You either hate it or love it when it comes to Miami and Vegas. But Bailey seemingly very much on the hate it side. And Certi, they're saying more points than my team. Freezing emoji. Well, it's down to you, Certi, to change. You are the magic man, mate. It's time for you to kind of put the team on your back and do magic. And talking of magic, Sergio, a 130.7 set there by Chissy with 3 minutes to go.
Yeah, I think my 129 was being a little too optimistic. But that is still a hell of a time. Chissy there, an absolute hell of a time. Rossi and Lucas close together with their timings. I think their time might come down just a little more, but we're now at that point where cars that are in the pits, they are going to be coming out to do their last chance sort of shoot out for it. As I've just seen Frost Tactic unfortunately invalidate his lap by going headfirst into the wall. So no lap time there.
Sounds like Reminisce.
Frost. Yeah. So not ideal for the Haas cars here. So that'll be one to look out for just in these last few minutes of this qualifying. Can they actually get a lap time on the board? I did see someone had a quali ban. I'm guessing that's 30 at the bottom.
Yeah, sounds like so.
But yeah, I think Frost really does need to try and get in and out again as soon as possible to get any chance of a decent position in this start of this Grand Prix, because P19 and P20 for the 2 Haas cars, not good in terms of any championship, driver or team.
Yeah. Well, for now, listen, we're going to sit on Jamsy here for the last kind of minute and 30-ish of this qualifying period. Quali's flown by, and these guys have set some great times so far as we kind of begin the countdown towards our main stage, our main race tonight. A big reminder, of course, to everyone listening in the background, if you are racing, please do not ready up when we get qualifying done. Just, edit your setups, do what you need to do, but please do not ready up until Michael gives you the go-ahead. Okay, so same as usual, been good for it in recent weeks, so just stick to that again. no readying up until the gaffer gives us the go-ahead. But, yeah, no, a fun track, an exciting one tonight. And a bit of banter there between the Hasses, Sergio, as Frost Tactics just come into the chat and said to Certi, is this a bad time to tell you that I've never raced at Vegas before? Well, the Hass could well be on for another low finish tonight unless the power of Christ gets them through this one. But, yeah, I'm excited for it tonight. I'm happy to see Rosual up there. I'm happy to see Lucas up there. Said some names, setting some very, very, very convincing times. And, yeah, only time will tell in the next kind of 30 to 40 minutes when we get this race deep into its kind of conclusion and deep into its activity as to who is going to maybe be the surprise of the grid tonight. I think there's definitely got to be eyes on Ryan Parker, as there always should be. There's got to be eyes on Bench Warmer. I think with this track, as Sergio said, it's a kind of an anyone can take it. It just takes, you know, a good final sector, a good final lap, and you can zip past someone that's been leading you for so long. I mean, tyre strategy for you, if we are going to assume it's going to be standardized conditions here, just standard night conditions, Sergio, how would you be approaching this one? Would you be starting on mediums and then going to hards, or would you be starting on hards and going to mediums? How would you take this one in your stride?
Probably be starting on the mediums, switching over to the hards. Get aggressive on the off is the game plan I would take into this. Try and gain as many positions as I can from the start. Be aggressive. I know I have said before, can't win a race in the first turn, but it's not that. It's you want to get your elbows out. You want to really, you know, state to everyone else what you're going to be doing.
Yeah.
And that's going to be a perfect statement to get your elbows out early doors and really stop anyone from coming past and trying to push your way forward as well. Great statement of intent there for the rest of the race, and then just try and see it out and manage the pace. And over the course of hard tyres as well on the second stint would be ideal, because they are fairly consistent tyres in terms of lap times. They hold out for long, but I can guarantee you now we won't see the softs this evening, because I have had a few messages from different racers saying that softs this year are they're broken, they're horrible. They fall off way too quickly, and Vegas, even though, you know, it's pitch black at Vegas, it's under the lights, it's night time, it's still bloody hot. Compared to, you know, where, for example, we are right now, it's very hot there. So it's gonna be hard on some of the tyres, and especially the soft ones. But yeah, mediums to hards for me.
There you go. Well, as well, during that, as we ended quali there, don't know if you just caught that out the corner of your eye, but it seems like Lucas just about, yeah, he did pip Rosual with a 131.3. So we're in for a great race tonight. Stay tuned with us, because all we're waiting for now is the drivers to get their setups, and then we're off to the races for the 4th time this season. A reminder to all the drivers tonight, please do not ready up until Michael gives you the go-ahead. Take about 2 or 3 minutes, get your setups on, and then best of luck tonight in your individual race, and also your team race. Going to be a really important one for the team constructors, I feel like. Frost Tactic there, saying, in response to Certi saying just don't crash, I'm going to be honest, I took a setup off the internet during qualifying, and I think the wings are too low because I literally can't do the last corner, so I'm cooked. Good luck. Gringo, if I join this, could I bump people off? Is it allowed? No, you'd be permanently banned. You would be kicked. And remember, there's a serious race league, Herbie. You want to do that? Go and play NASCAR, buddy. That's the point and purpose of NASCAR at that stage, just to kind of ram into people and dive bomb people. All right, so listen, fellas, a reminder, verbally, do not ready up until Michael gives you the go-ahead. We are not readying up until 10:04 p.m. 10:04 p.m. Michael giving everyone a couple of minutes there to just get their setups on and dusted. So yep. Sadly, because of Michael's lobby mishap, we were robbed of at least a qualifying in the rain, and there's not going to be any rain here tonight either in the main race. So there you go. Forza Horizon 6 sounds like your game. Forza Horizon 6, by the way, looks incredible. Everyone's been slamming it on Twitter, but I think it looks great. I think the graphics of that looks phenomenal. But hey, to each their own. Well. Again, I'm surprised, again, if you don't even have a setup, Grim. I'm surprised Certi isn't kind of giving you, like, assistance on the setups. You'd think teammates and whatnot, you'd be sharing the information, wouldn't you? But, hey, keep it to yourself, I suppose. That's why you're a terrible teammate, Surty. Horrendous, horrific. Then again, your advice to anyone in your team would probably be whack on the intermediates, mate, and don't come off them. Surty said, I got a setup just before quali. There you go, everyone scouring to Google for their setups. I mean, do you see that as a strategy that can work, Sergio? Going to Google and just typing in F125 Vegas strategy. Do you feel like on the most part that never really works out?
I think it works very well. To be fair, me and a few of the guys I've raced with on endurance racing, we actually get a lot of our setups from setup shops, setup apps, things. A lot of it we don't do ourselves, mainly because we don't have the time to sit there and do the extensive hours of testing a lot of these need to actually be successful. Whereas ones that have been used and proven and, you know, have various amounts of likes and things like that, they do work. They really do work. So yeah, I don't think it's a bad tactic at all. I think if you've got the technology there to do it, use it. Go for it. You know, try and get that extra advantage.
Well, there we go then. The advantage going to need to be used by Surty and the Haas, but we're off and to the races we go as we're live here tonight in Vegas in the dark, hoping that no one here perishes tonight. Sergio said it's a 50-50 chance of a safety car coming out if we're going off the real-life statistics, but you would think maybe that is going to be on the kibosh this evening. 18 drivers out of 20, Sergio, opting for mediums. Michael coming out on hards, and it's Bailey who is coming out on softs. He said he feels like he's driving on ice. Well, I mean, he's certainly going to feel like that now as well on those softs, isn't he?
Yeah, softs is an interesting one. Did not expect anyone to even touch those for the rest of the season after the information I was told, but Bailey's here trying to prove me wrong, I guess. So, but yeah, it's an interesting one from the Williams driver there, going on the hards, opposing everyone else with a brain other than Bailey, with the tyre choices, and yeah, he might just be going with a safe option, maybe not too keen on the mediums, who knows, or possibly just trying to go for that aggression later on and more settle into a rhythm early doors. Hoping the DRS train will keep him up, because let's be honest, the DRS train is going to be there for the first part of the race, and it'll extend out and get bigger and bigger as the race goes on. So, on paper, it makes sense. Can he pull it off in the race? That all comes down to his pace.
Well, for now, said only the very early days of this race, and it's Lucas 7 as the surprise. Well, maybe some to some, maybe not to others. The surprise kind of, force chasing down Chissy. Two Ferraris, of course, 4th and 5th. In Shadow Gunners and Tilla. Is this going to be a track tonight, do you think, Sergio, where we're going to see maybe that requirement of teamwork like we saw last week from the Ferraris? Or do you think this track is just too, I don't know, too streety? For that's not really a word, but too street circuity to kind of, do those kind of maneuvers where you're kind of playing blocker and allowing to pass and whatnot?
I think this is probably one of the, not easiest, but one of the best tracks to do that kind of thing.
Okay.
In terms of blocking people and everything, this is definitely an easier one to do, because if you look back at, for example, the last race of the real F1 season just gone, when Norris was trying to win that title, which he obviously succeeded in, he had to pretty much go completely off course to overtake Sonoda. And that kind of thing can't happen here. You can't do that because the wall's in your way. So, it really can work well. It just depends on how good you are actually at it. And
and we've seen a crash here, it seems. We're going to see what that happens. We're on board with Bailey, and there it is. It was on that corner there. Blazer Guns has perished early in, only 2 laps in. I mean, does that surprise you? I don't know if that's like a danger area. I don't know if you saw that on the stream or on your side, Sergio, that he died at that part just coming out of Sector 2, I think it was. I mean, does that surprise you?
I wouldn't say it surprises me, no. I was expecting someone to go into the wall, just not that hard. He ripped the entire front right suspension unit off of that vehicle there, so the front right tyre was actually sitting on top of what would be the equivalent of the dashboard, just below the halo. So, yeah, not the most ideal thing for Blazer Guns there. I'm guessing, judging on the location of the car and the angle, probably came out of the corner a little too hot and straight into the wall. But I mean, already we're seeing penalties come in, so I could have been completely wrong about the penalties this evening.
Yeah, so far the 2 penalties, or 2 of them, both of them, are a drive-through, I think, for speeding during the virtual safety car coming out. So Rosywell and Bailey there, both with drive-through penalties. Again, a shame for Rosywell because looks so sharp in qualifying, and now, you know, he's got that drive-through penalty to deal with. We've seen Ryan Parker and Bailey pit. They've both gone on to hards, and on the other side of things, Surtee has now come out onto softs. So, yeah, we've still got 1 softie out there, but now we've got a couple more people on hards coming in. I mean, do you look at this? Is it too early to think about, you know, pitting? I mean, obviously, if you've got damage, pit, clearly. But, I mean, if you don't have damage, if you're completely in the clear, had no contact, should you be thinking about pitting with this virtual safety car out there, Sergio, or not so much for you?
Maybe not this early. I mean, I feel like we're going to see another safety car or 2 before the end of this race, or at least a virtual one. Mm-hmm. It's not going to be a clean race to the end from here. There's going to be some little, not hitting each other, but there's going to be times where vehicles are clipping the wall, and that is going to cause debris. That is potentially going to cause safety cars, or even moves up the inside, like little Sebastian's just doing there for the team in red, for one of the Ferraris. You pull off and move side by side into a braking zone, get a bit too close, that causes debris, and again that causes that safety car. So I'd be more gambling at the minute. It seems we're on Vegas, it seems suited, and I would gamble and stay out on track for now and hope there's a safety car later in the race, because obviously, as everyone knows, safety cars, they do bring that time of your pit stop down drastically, because obviously the pace on track is slower. So I'd be banking on that, and I'd be going a bit later, but again, I could be proven wrong. Bailey has not succeeded to prove me wrong so far, since he's already on hards. Surtee now trying to do that, but yeah, I'll be sticking out for this one and trying to wait for potentially another one to come.
Oh, and I think the Bailey head loss has just hit new levels, because he's just got a 10-second penalty there for speeding in the pit lane, so not able to kind of keep his composure. The Williams there with a huge you know, obstacle to come back from. So there you go. And Surtee there can't believe that it wasn't a full-on safety car. I mean, I'm the same, Sergio. Like you said, the whole right side was ripped off the car. Only a virtual? Bit weird, isn't it?
Yeah, shocking in a way. Because when that car it's on the racing line. That was on the exit of the turn there. There is no way to avoid it. There's nowhere else to go to avoid it. So, bit shocked that's not a full safety car. My only reason behind it that it could have been the case was the fact that pretty much the entire grid had gotten past that vehicle. Yeah. There was only 1 car that hadn't made it past. 2 cars, sorry. And they were literally right behind the incident. So that could be why, because by the time the cars came back around, it was not needed. But we have a full course yellow at the minute, so...
There you go. Surtee saying in capital letters, give me a full safety car. So he is, I don't know, maybe he's already regretting his decision on those soft tyres, and maybe that's why he's begging for one. But said for now, the drivers all kind of bunched up nicely. Here's that virtual safety car as we carry a couple of people in the pits there. Rosywell, Frost Tactic, and Cons all deciding also to join Ryan Parker and Bailey and Michael on fresh hard. So more and more of those mediums defecting to hard tyres. And realistically, fresh hards on a track like Vegas, what do you think, Sergio? Maybe 14 laps? Are you going to get out of those? Maybe more? You can't get the whole 21 remaining laps on those hards, can you?
No, I wouldn't have thought so. I think the thing that gets the tyres will be those sweeping corners, so mainly through Sector 1 and 2. Those corners are really going to rub off on the tyres in the wrong way. They're really going to pull some of that grip off of that tyre. So towards the end, cars might start sliding, and again, that could be more of an increased chance of a safety car. But yeah, I think it'll be a case of you could probably take them maybe 10 to 15 laps from now, and then who knows? You could be brave and go for the softs, but realistically, it's going to be a medium tyre after that.
Yeah, and it's just more nightmare fuel for a fan favourite at the Racing Bull, Rosywell, with not just 1 but now 2 drive-through penalties there, Sergio. Just gone onto those hards, and he's got another drive-through penalty there for speeding under the virtual safety car. He's got to get himself together, hasn't he?
Yeah, it's the hardest thing as well when you're racing. When you get a penalty for whether it's an unsafe pit entry for speeding in the pits, whether it's just little things like track limits. When you see that pop up on your screen or in your VR, whatever you're using, when you see that pop up, it's a real difficult thing to sort of get around your head because you're then constantly paranoid about it, and
Yeah.
because you're paranoid about it, thinking about that, you're not actually looking at your driving line properly, so you do tend to deviate slightly from what you've been doing repetitively, causing your lap times to come down, and you increase your chances of pulling another penalty point or time.
Makes so much sense that you said that as well, because as I've, kind of given the kind of background and the lore of the drivers before, Rosywell said to us last season this is his first ever calendar year was 2025 of being involved in kind of, F1 comp leagues. Was always, either a single player guy or just never playing F1 in general. So the fact that he's so new, to a league system, to a kind of competitive driving system like we have here, he's going to be in his own head after the first one, isn't he? And I think Bailey's the same, got that drive through, and then immediately after, boom, does the drive through, and then 10-second speeding penalty for speeding in the pit lane. So I think it is, even though it's a track that is, I think, I don't want to be insulting to people that think that it's a difficult track, but it looks like a simple track. It's not it's not an Azerbaijan, is it? It's not a Baku where you've got to be really kind of careful of those tight corners and turns, or a Monaco. But this is a track which is going to require focus, but more so mental composure if you do start to get that domino effect of penalties coming your way.
Yeah, certainly. And I think we've just, sorry to deviate from what you were saying, we've had a bit of an issue at the top of the tower. He's not actually in the session at the minute.
Yeah,
I'm trying to get him back, but it's AI.
Yep, he has indeed desynced, so we're going to try and get Chissy back in as quick as possible. And I tell you this much, listen, the longer that he remains out of the session here, Sergio, the more of a comeback he's going to need to produce. But that's what Chissy likes to do. He likes to have the chips stacked against him. No better time than having that happen than in Vegas, the gambling capital of the world. So we'll let you kind of work on that there, get him back in. For the time being, it's all over to Benchwarmer, and now more so Shadow Gunners to kind of take the mantle here at the top of the pack. But scroll through here, give you a kind of bit of insight into the rest of the grid so far. No real battles apart from the one here at the back. Frost Tactic, Ryan Parker and Surtee all very much next to each other. So we'll see if Frost Tactic, who complained about this track feeling a little bit icy, and you can see there he nearly skidded into the wall there. That would have been a disaster for him, but for now we'll stick with it and take a look-see. But scrolling back up through the grid, Cons there kind of on his own over the nice leisurely Sunday drive. Neddy here staring down H-Dino and Dirty Hippo. Remember, H-Dino, one of the few drivers that haven't registered a single point yet on the drivers' constructors table, so he's going to be looking to finish in the top 10 tonight. Everyone's favourite German, Dirty Hippo, in between the McLarens in 9th right now. Rye H23, a fan favourite as well, doing bits over there. And it seems we have indeed regained Chissy. Now, talk to me here, Sergio, because again, you're the expert, you're the guy that's been there, raced. How difficult is this going to be now for Chissy to kind of regain that top spot? He's a great driver, yes, but he's desynced, he's come back in, he's now going to have to fight against the tide almost here to get back to where he was.
Yeah, it's going to be a challenge, but P6, it's not a terrible place to be. 2 seconds away from the car ahead of Lucas. That gap, if you can close that just by a little bit, which he probably will, because we've seen him close gaps to other cars before, and it does come down horrendously fast. All he needs to do is get within DRS range of that vehicle. Once he's in that, he can pull himself up the tower fairly easily for a driver of his caliber. The real challenge, though, is it's going to be the haunting of Miami, is what I've called it, which is him trying to get past the two Ferraris at the top. I mean, since we're in Vegas, my money before this race was all being put on red anyway, so I was going to go with the Ferrari drivers to be winning this race. I just didn't know who out of the team, but it makes sense that we're in Vegas. You know, you've got to put your money on red or black, and don't have any teams out there that go with the colour of black, so we're going for red.
Well,
And I think
go
they
on.
could pull it off.
This is a controversial question for you because again, you kind of alluded to this last week, and you said, when we talked about when Chissy had that comeback and he won the race despite that blocking and that brilliant bit of teamwork from the Ferrari, and you said at one point on commentary, it could well be a case in the season where you're going to need to have a little bit of collusion. You're going to need maybe one or two teams together, like 4 cars, 3 cars together, to almost have this silent pact, this silent agreement, to work together to block Chissy, to kind of make this, this constructors interesting. Is this now the ideal opportunity for that to happen, for the Mercedes and the Ferrari to perhaps work together, or would you say not so much?
I think this will be a case of Tilla and Gunner at the top. I think they're just going to use each other for the DRS. I think they're going to try and pull away. That'd be my idea of what's going to happen for the rest of this race, because you got someone like Chissy who's now P4. Bearing in mind when I invited him back, we got him back in the session, P6, 2 seconds behind Lucas. Now P5, half a second ahead of Lucas, 4.5 off the people near the top. But then again, Shadow's now coming for the pit, so we are now entering that pit window. So these next few moments, these next few laps are going to be crucial for Chissy. When is the pit strategy going to come into play? But I think it will be between the Ferraris. If they're not in a voice chat at the minute talking to each other, then fair play if they're doing this without the communication. Kind of need to work out some sort of team strategy to keep someone like Chissy at bay, because it's not just one race you have to do it. You need to do it the entire season. If you can use other cars to your benefit as well, great. But they're all fighting for the same thing. So it's not something you can rely. You can't rely on other teams, other cars. You need to, between the two of you, basically team up. And Tilla and Gunner are in the prime spot for that to happen, because bench warmer, difficult player to keep behind him. But Chissy especially, we've seen how much of a nuisance he caused last time out of Miami. It could well be like that at the end of this race again, but they've really got to keep focused all through these last 15 laps.
Well, we'll keep on board with Chissy for the time being. Of course, a couple more drivers have made that switch over from mediums to hards, the likes of Shadow's Gunner, saying now with that tyre selection, Sergio, I'm happy for this remaining 15 laps to just go out with the hards. Same as Lucas, same as Neddy lower on down the grid. And I think they're now going to be waiting and seeing when Chissy makes that decision. 9-lap-old mediums. I think this is going to be one of those decisions maybe where does he watch Tilla go into pit and do one more lap? That's exactly what he's going to do. So he's watched Tilla go in. He's not followed them. He says, I will take it on 10-lap-old mediums, and I will go one more ahead and then up to pit. So every second now going to be invaluable for Chissy. I mean, a quick word, 11 laps in out of 25, so, still got over half the race to go. But what a start and what a performance by Benchwarmer, who currently leads the pack. Yeah, Chissy disconnected, but you've got to give Bench his flowers here. He's pretty much raced a wonderfully clean race, but you are playing with fire on those 10-lap-old mediums, aren't they? Benchwarmer, Chissy, Rye, Hippo, HDinho. I mean, they're going to have to, make a decision pretty soon about going in.
Yeah, I imagine the grip has fallen away. Maybe not as quick as we're thinking. Not entirely sure. Without the sun beaming down on them, it's a bit harder to tell. But you've got to look at the easiest way to tell is probably HDinho is in the prime spot for this. How quick is Gunner catching you up? Because if he's catching you up quickly on those fresh hards, your mediums are falling off the pace just a little bit too much, and you might need to come in. So that gap will be a crucial one to look at. But in terms of Benchwarmer and Chissy, what they do, again, it's the same thing. If Liss might be catching up with those hards, even though they're the same age, the compound should still have a slight difference in it. In terms of the mediums should still be quicker than the hards at that point. But if you find your times are coming a bit closer, because obviously the hards have a longer life, and your mediums are starting to drop off, then you probably should call it in. But based on lap times at the minute, they're not too separate. I mean, Chissy going around another time, Hippo coming in for a pit stop, but also getting a penalty there. I think they're more than comfortable. I've been watching the Mercedes there, Benchwarmer, with Chissy in the background, and I've not seen any slips or anything. So I think the grip is still there. You can see the rudder starting to fray a little bit. but nothing too major at the minute. It's all on the inside of the tyre, which is the main contact zone for the car to the track surface. But I think they could probably eke out another couple of laps before it starts to get a bit silly, and then they might need to call it in.
Well, right now you can just see how well Chissy has kind of ascended back up the grid since that desync issue from 6th to 2nd, and now within touching distance of bench warmer. But again, question marks will fall as to when bench Chissy, Michael and H-Dino will go in. Sergio thinks a couple more laps. We'll have to wait and see. The thing that Michael's got up his sleeve is that he's going to be able to go... I mean, has Michael played this one brilliantly? I'll ask you that one, Sergio, because realistically, as Chissy and Benchwarmer and H-Dino go in and will effectively change to hards, I imagine, Michael Lisp is going to be going in and going to be able to change onto mediums, making him naturally faster. Has he put himself in a great position here to win this race tonight?
Yeah, it could be one of those names that you wouldn't expect necessarily in the top 3. If we base it on what we saw in Miami, you expect the Ferraris to be out there, you expect Chissy to be out there. But I think he is one of those people that, might have actually played a blinder here without anyone realising the proper underdog story. And after all the pit strategies have completed, which we're nearing on that completion point now, with only, I think, one car more or less yet to do their mandatory pit stop, which is Chissy, I think he could have played an absolute blinder of steel here and potentially fighting against the Ferraris for a podium. Maybe not side by side on circuit, but definitely in theory, on paper, by the end of this race, could well be in amongst that mix.
So how would you play this if you were Lisp in the Williams? Do you pit at the same time as Chissy, or do you watch Chissy go in and then go in the lap after? How would you play that if you were him?
Well, in theory, your hard should be able to go on a little while longer than the mediums and still maintain some form of pace. So if it was me, I would be looking to go probably another 2 to 3 laps after Chissy's gone in.
Okay.
Because then the more you do on those hard tyres without them falling off, the more aggressive you can be on the mediums. Because they don't have to last as long. Because every lap you chip off on your current set is an extra lap of aggression you can have for the next stint. So if you can manage that...
Oh my god! Tilla like a rocket there. Jesus, that could have ended in tears. Sorry, Sergio. That was...
No, that's fine. There was a lot of contact there as well. So I wouldn't be surprised if Jamsy's a bit annoyed with that, to be fair. That was a proper sort of slam into the wheel there.
Real elbows are out here between these lot, by the way. Jesus Christ. Well, they somehow all survive it. They aren't down that for the count yet. Very, very tight hit between Jamsy and Shadow's Gunner. And look at that now. Chissy going in, and there he is. He's in with a fresh bout of hard hit. I'm telling you, Jamsy and Shadow's Gunner, Sergio, are consistently, they are trading paint here, these two. And Jamsy's got to be careful, hasn't he? Said 2 race weeks in a row, race week 1 and 2. You've got to give him a 10-second penalty. He does not need another big penalty coming his way. But he's defending that 3rd position with his life. Keep an eye on that one.
Yeah, no, certainly. Watching that battle at the minute, there was a lock-up there after the overtake from Jamsy. But this could actually be, looking at it from a slightly different point of view as well. Yeah, okay, we've had some penalties recently, but this could be the real Jamsy coming out. Like, this is what Jamsy has in his locker. This is the ability and the talent that's there. The contacts or the penalties could have all been bad luck, and this is actually the true show of power from that Aston Martin, which it's been a very good race so far for that driver, and it's been elbows out, but fairly clean-ish racing, or as best as you can around the circuit. Because like I said last week, on a controller with an analog stick, it's not easy to do side-by-side racing.
Oh god, there was a lot of contact there, and he's bumped him into the wall. He's still alive, but I don't think his wing's going to be intact. I don't know how much you saw of that there on the camera, but oh dude, these two, I just feel like the report is going to come in from one of them afterwards. That was really, really dangerous there. Jamsy could have had himself fly right out of the cockpit and into the next state over. That's how dangerous that one was. But for now, Shadow's going to retaking 3rd position, but I don't think that battle's over. 10 laps to go, and I feel like Jamsy's going to kind of dust himself off now and go, okay, that's how we're playing it. Let's get the elbows out, and let's bring that that aggressive style. Let's bring that Diego Simeone racing to the track here, because I think he's about to out-bastard him, if I say so myself. But yeah, not a clean one between those two. Definitely a rivalry forming on the grid there as it stands. For now, though, Tilla still at the top of the grid. Michael, 14 lap-old hards, not going in yet. Taking your advice, Sergio, and staying out there for a couple of extra laps. Of course, Chissy on 1 lap-old hards, and he's going to make the most of these. And then it will come down to Michael's, pace, is just outright raw pace when he does eventually choose to go in for those medium tyres. What do you think is the optimum? Do you think if he can get to, lap 17, then pit, would that be kind of the marker you're looking at, or would you say maybe a little bit after that or before that?
Yeah, I'd say somewhere between lap 16 to 18. A bit more of a broad sort of area to look at. Anywhere between there, I'd say they've got good life out of them. And it doesn't leave you too many laps to then finish the race on those mediums with, because if you look at most cars, they were swapping them out between sort of laps 9 to 10 or 11.
Well, Michael there, just got you off, sorry, has just decided to pit there as Shadow Gunners has just taken 2nd position. Benchwarmer also setting the fastest lap so far, but here we go then. I mean, this is what we talked about. You'd expect Michael now, off of those 15 lap-old hards, he's going to go on to those mediums. He's the only medium compound on the grid. This is categorically, I think for me, the best opportunity Michael's going to have to finish in the podium positions. He's played a real blinder here with the strategy, but now it's not just about the compound of the tyre. It's about, can you match the technical ability of these big names at the top of the grid? The Tillas, the Gunners, the Jamsies, even the Lucases, who I think has had a real stellar race here and flown under the radar without much kind of praise, but he's done phenomenal as well. And of course, the big dog Chissy in 6th position. Just because he's 6 doesn't mean he'll be staying there. 9 laps, that's a lot of time. 1.5 minutes per lap. Again, he's got about 14 minutes-ish, 15 minutes-ish to get as high as he possibly can. And trust me, he will be gunning for those podium spots. I think right now then, you're looking at maybe the lower parts of the grid here as well, Sergio. Quinniff, Rossi, Ryan Parker, Bailey on those kind of 10, 11, 12, 13 lap-old hards. They're going to need to make a decision soon about changing, about pitting and going in. At that point, do you think, if you can get to lap 20, even though they're horrendous compound to go on, do you think if they can get to lap 20, 21, do you risk it all and go on softs, or do you just stick safe and go medium?
If it was me, I'd be playing the safe option. I think softs are still just too much of a risk. I've heard how quickly they drop off. So I think it will be a case of, okay, if you need a tyre for literally the last 4 laps, yeah, go for it. The easy way to tell is just see how long Sergi stays on these set of softs before he comes in to swap them out, because that's how we're going to know how quickly they fall off. I can't see those people taking them all the way to the end. I can't see Bailey taking the softs to the end. But if you do, fair play. But from what I've heard from other drivers, the grip falls off very quickly, and it is like you're driving on black ice constantly. It's horrible from what we've seen so far.
Well, for now, it's that age-old story again. The 2 Ferraris up there in the podium positions with a Aston Martin wedged in between them. It's a Ferrari sandwich right now. Question is, though, does Jamsey have what it takes to find the pace and the speed to overtake Tilla? Or does he just say, I'm happy, I'm content with 2nd place here, I'm content with 3rd place here tonight? It's just a case of, what does he want to race like? Does he want to be aggressive? Does he want to push himself? Or will he just keep his calmness about him? As Shadow Gunners there just takes 2nd place from his grip. So Jamsey now dropping into 3rd as these two continue to rumble on. And now looking for the outside lane here is Jamsey, but not able to find the speed himself. Chissy, in the meantime, now up to 5th position. He is on his way, boys. Don't sleep on the 2-time champion. The Red Bull not down and out yet at all. Surtees said like 6 or so laps of peak performance for the softs. So that's what Surtees is saying. So at that point, if people are hearing that, they're probably saying to themselves, all right, lap 19, lap 20, we'll whip it in there and see if we can go for it. Especially if you're kind of outside of the top 10, outside the points. No reason to not be a little bit adventurous, perhaps, but again, that's down to the drivers. I'm never going to give anyone advice on what compound to race on, especially if they want to gain a few positions. But for now, very much the view is on two storylines. Number one, can Jamsey get as high as possible and finish in second place? And more so, can Chissy, our driving constructors leader, find a way to win this race? I mean, would it be more impressive in your opinion, Sergio, if Chissy won this race tonight compared to him winning the race last week when dealing with the Ferraris, because now he's in fifth compared to him being in third last week out? I mean, this would be even more impressive than last week, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would be very impressive to pull off the win. I think even a podium will still be fairly impressive, to be fair. Okay, not as impressive because he's in that DRS train at the moment, but definitely going to be up there as an achievement. Question is when he was in the session, the AI took over, was that actually benefiting him in a way? Because, okay, he would have lost some time, the pace around of other drivers would have been quicker, but the AI don't go as hard on the tyres. They save them a little bit. So was he able to go a bit longer on those tyres because of those vital moments that the AI took over? Maybe, who knows? It might have been that might be the way people look at it. Unfair advantage or whatever. I mean, it's a load of rubbish, but that kind of thing might have come into play here, and it might have actually benefited him in a way that we've not looked at. So there's different ways you can look at it. I mean, either way, it's a hell of an achievement if you can pull this off. But again, it's that red wall that you've got at the top of the tower, though. You've got to get past that. And so far, we've seen an Aston Martin try and do it and almost end up in a wall out of the race. So it's not easy, especially around here.
Well, for now, I think we're going to have to sit on board for Chissy now with the last 6 laps looming. He is staring down not just Jamsey, but also Shadow's Gunner. Can one of the greatest of all time in the Red Bull here tonight pull off one of the greatest comebacks that we've probably seen across not just this season but the last couple of years? He's just taken third position, and there's been a safety car. I'm pretty sure Neddy is out of this race. Now that is massive. Where has Neddy perished is the big question. The driver's slowing down here, and it's on that. Is it on that same? It is. It's on that same sector again, the exact same place, Sergio, where Blazer Guns crashed out early on this evening. That exit of Sector 2, I'm pretty sure this is. I think it is, at least anyway, but the exact same place, and Neddy seemingly bins it off there. What, though, does that do for this race? Because look at this now, Sergio. Chissy, the softs, Tilla, the softs, Jamsey, the mediums. This is going to be an aggressive finish here for the last 5 laps.
You know what we were saying about, can he pull it off? Will Chissy win this race? Well, he hasn't got a wall of red in front of him no more. Shadows is nowhere to be seen, technically speaking. And yeah, Chissy is P2 behind Tilla. These two were quite aggressive with each other, I'd say. They were very elbows out. But they're in Chissy's aspect, that's the only Ferrari he has to watch out for. He does not need to worry about anything else in this race right now other than that car ahead. I don't think Jamsey's going to disturb him too much because Benchwarmer is pretty good when it comes to the restarts from safety cars. So I think Benchwarmer will be right on the tail of that Aston Martin, especially seeing as that's the last podium spot. So to get that would be great. And the easiest way to do that, probably for Benchwarmer, is to fight Jamsey as best as he can for the last few laps to wear down those tyres, because he can push a lot harder on his hard tyres because they have a longer life, but they are going to be slower. So you've really got to push Jamsey to his extremes to make him use that extra grip that he doesn't want to necessarily use, to make him slip up, make him make mistakes. And to be fair, you've got to be careful because he's nearly gone straight into the back of Chissy just then.
I think this is going to be one of the most interesting finishes of the season. There's always drama on the track, and we're about to see it again. I think we're going to see the safety car go in probably around lap 23, I'd imagine, which means it's going to be 2 laps of pure excellence from these drivers tonight. Chissy being given a godsend in that fiery death of Z Neddy, and no doubt he'll leave some flowers on the tombstone for him, because it could well allow him to pull off this fantastic comeback. Bailey saying this is shit, stuck behind first and can't unlap. He's not happy as the Williams. It's been a night to forget for good old Bailey, but hey, at least he can kind of have a Sunday leisurely drive and keep his ears peeled for the action that's about to unfold up top here. I mean, right now you can see the safety car still keeping things nice and measured, and it's going to be an interesting one to see when it comes down to it. How and when will that safety car go in? The worst thing in the world now, I don't want to tempt fate here, Sergio, that could possibly happen, is either Tilla on PC, Chissy, or even Jamsy or Benchwarmer get desynced. That would be a nightmare, wouldn't it? Don't want that to happen, but that would definitely create another avenue of drama in this shootout that's about to take place. So strap in for it. The safety car's been out for a lap or two already, and only a matter of time before it decides it's going to go in. And then at that point, you're going to see some of the most fast-paced, aggressive racing, not just of tonight, but probably of the entire season. They don't get much tighter and closer than this. Is it going to be Tilla? Is it going to be Chissy? Two fantastic rivals on the race grid for the last couple of weeks. Only time's going to tell. Quick recap as well on people in the top 10. The guys that are going to be on for points here tonight: Tilla, Chissy, Jamsy, Benchwarmer, Craig, Shadows Gunner, Lucas, Rye, Michael, and Cons. HDinho as well, right on the cusp of potentially earning his first point as a McLaren driver. Can he keep his head as well? Certy saying, isn't he meant to let him unlap himself? Says Certy. Any comments on that, Sergio? I'm not a brilliant rules guy. Is he supposed to allow him to unlap himself?
Yeah, he should be allowed to unlap himself, but if there's no prompt on his screen to say, you know, pass the safety car, or he's been given a wave around, then unfortunately that's just the way it is. This game is not perfect. There is no such thing as a perfect game, but that is one of the rules. Cars, especially in this aspect, would be allowed to unlap themselves. Okay, it may not be exactly correct all the time, but that is normally what happens, especially when a battle for the top two is this close. For example, the prime example of this is the 2021 battle between Hamilton and Verstappen. Safety car, last few laps, and the, I think, 3 or 4 laps cars in between Verstappen and Hamilton weren't allowed to, they were woven around, off they went, and the last 2 laps was a shootout between those 2 cars. So that, in theory, should happen here, and that's a prime example where it has happened in real life, and then, again, that should follow suit in game, but unfortunately, it's not swung that way. Why, I don't know, but not too sure if there's settings for wave rounds turned off, but there normally is on other sims, so maybe there's something to look into, but yeah, I can't really comment on why it hasn't happened, so to speak.
Alright, well, said a bit of a conundrum there, but lap 22 of 25, and my prediction was we'll see that safety car go in lap 23. We've had no prompt yet that we're going to see it go in. Maybe it'll be lap 24. Imagine if you see it go in on the final lap and then it's just one shot lap for greatness. So usually when it is going to go in, we'll be given that kind of instruction. But for now,
ooh, that's interesting.
Go on.
Chissy's just put in the Discord there that the game has put him on used soft tyres rather than fresh.
Interesting. Now, is that another EA bug, do you think, or?
Yeah, potentially there. Safety car is in this lap, so here we're going to get the shootout, but looking at the tyres in terms of visual wear, there's no difference between the top 2. So even though it might be a little percentage of wear on there, I don't think it's going to be enough to really alter the outcome of this race. It's not going to be a massive factor, just minimal.
All right, I'm excited here, Sergio. Here we go then. It is. I would say so. Certainly saying it's when you disconnect and rejoin, it uses your old tyres. So there you go. A little bit of insight there from Certy. Michael there with a severe collision with Lucas with a 10-second penalty. That is gutting for him after a brilliant race. But here we are then. Off to the races we go. Couple of laps remaining. Tilla versus Chissy. It's the softs against the softs, and well, if Tilla wants to make a break for this Drivers' Championship, if he wants to be a real contender, if he wants to be a real thorn in the side of Chissy. You have to win this race. This is going to be about all-out speed and all-out timing, and more so as well, all-out focus. But look at that on the arrival there is Jamsey. And to be polite and impolite at the same time, Sergio, Jamsey there arriving on the screen as I was with Chissy, like a bull in a china shop. He could be a real disruptor in this kind of two-way battle by just being a nuisance, couldn't he? He could be the, a stumbling, grumbling menace in third place that causes maybe a little bit of friction for Chissy to kind of gain positions. But right now, Tilla maintaining the course as the race leader as we're about halfway through this 23rd lap.
Yeah, certainly, and I was just watching on board with Jamsey actually on the move he tried to pull off there on Chissy as he goes for another one here on the outside once again and gets moved up under DRS there, and or in fact it might not have been DRS, might have just been the slipstream, but the move he tried to pull off earlier on, that was a fantastic switchback. So unfortunately he didn't get it done in the end. He did have to pull off a little bit because he was going to go straight into the wall, but as a fantastic switchback. Brilliant racecraft there in terms of juking Chissy to defend the inside line and then just switching back last second just before the braking zone as well. So perfectly legal. A fantastic move there that should have happened really for Jamsey, but he's got the job done now. And well, let's just see if he can hold it.
So Chissy there for a brief minute looked like he was about to skid round that corner. Did not look like he had a lot of grip on the track, and maybe he has a point about those used softs. It could be minimal, but again, minimal margins in a race this tight, Sergio, make all the difference. But for right now, Tilla, with a lap and a bit to go, is going to be the winner here tonight unless something magical happens. And for Jamsey, he's had to deal with all the elbows and the rustling and tussling between the other Ferrari, Shadow's Gunner. He's looking like he's on for a podium here tonight as well with no penalties. Of course, if he gets reported for something, whatever happens, happens. But as of right now, you're looking at a podium of Tilla, Jamsey and Chissy. And that would be really, really interesting as to what that does to the constructors and how that changes the mindset going into Brazil next week. So all to play for. And if Benchwarmer can for some reason knock Chissy off his perch and take podium, it would be one of the very rare times I've seen over the last year and a bit when I've watched Chissy race that he's not finished inside the top three. That is almost kind of an unimaginable feat if Chissy here tonight finishes in 4th position. Even with the disconnect, he's so good, you'd expect him to kind of be right up there. Here we go then, we come round the bend and we cross the line one more time as it is lap 25 of 25. And as of right now, Sergio, I don't think that Tilla's going to give this position up. I think the Ferrari tonight's done enough.
Yeah, I certainly think that too. 1.6 and getting away from the car behind as well. No DRS there for Jamsey, way out of it. The question is now is who's going to pull off the P2. Technically got 3 cars in this battle. Make that 2 now. Bit of back-end slippage there for the Mercedes. Not too sure if there was any contact between him and the Ferrari behind. But that back-end definitely kicked out there. So it's pulled him off of Chissy a little bit, maybe relieving some of that pressure. But everyone's pace does seem to be really good here towards the end. It's interesting seeing the hards battle up against the softs. You can see some elements where the acceleration comes into play for the softs and they're much better, but the hards overall, they do last longer and you can be more aggressive on them, but I don't think it's going to be enough here to warrant Chissy losing that top 3 spot.
Well, in the end, he'll have to settle for a podium, but what a bit of racing it is today from Sebastian Vettel. Yeah, you can maybe make the case and point, well, Chissy had the disconnect and, well, he got put on used tyres and whatnot, but that's the beauty of a 10-week season, Sergio. You're going to have things go against you. You're going to have moments where you're going to maybe feel hard done by, and I think there will be a genuine feeling of, Chissy tonight feeling he's been hard done by, but I think he'll respect Sean and Tilla in general and the Ferrari team in general for their push and their pressure tonight, as Sean Tilla, Sebastian Vettel has won here in Vegas, and now going into week number 5 next week in Brazil, we could have a real interesting kind of title race on our hands. Podium tonight is as shown. Sebastian Vettel, Jamsey and Chissy. Shadow's Gunner in 4th. Another brilliant performance from the Ferrari number 2, I have to say. I wonder if there's going to be maybe any reports about the bumping and the grinding and the elbows, though, that we saw between him and Jamsey earlier on in the race. If there is, does that maybe mean we see the grid and the finish positions change? Only time will tell. Make sure you get your reports in. If you do want to report something to the FIA, usually you'll have until tomorrow night, 11 p.m, to get any of those complaints in, and they'll be independently reviewed and judged on. But I mean, listen, we saw a brilliant kind of bit of racecraft and strategy last week from the two Ferraris, Sergio. It was a different type of tense, action and anxiety tonight because of that disconnect from Chissy. But at the end of the day, listen, props to Sean Tilla. He's done enough. He's got it over the line. And the Ferrari tonight stand on that top podium. Do you think this could be the unlocking of the Ferrari? Do you think this could now set Tilla in particular on his way to challenging for the constructors, or do you just take it 1 week at a time?
I think this is a small step in the right direction, but for the Ferraris in general, it's a fantastic result. Only one Red Bull up there in terms of the high amount of points. Craig obviously missing out on the points, so this is a huge race for Ferrari. But the question is, does that now put other teams more into the mix? Mercedes 5th and 8th. So are other teams now starting to creep up? McLaren as well, fairly consistent performers. So it's a step in the right direction for maybe one team, but a massive leap in the right direction for a few others in terms of getting themselves more involved in that championship. Maybe not going for that top spot, but trying to get a podium in the constructors would be a hell of an achievement as well.
There you go. Well, listen, I think a really, really fun race tonight. And again, commiserations to Blazergun. Such a great driver, but it was that same area of the track that took out Blazerguns and Neddy. Blazerguns earlier on, Neddy later on. Vegas tonight took a couple of lives, but it's not the ultimate death track like Baku is yet. Join us next week for week 5, the halfway point of the season, as we're travelling over to Brazil for that one of my favourite tracks as a spectator. Should be brilliant. And in that, you'd have to ask yourselves, does Chissy fire a response? Does he get back to winning ways, or is this now the era of Sean Tilla that's about to begin? We'll have to wait a week to find out. Thank you so much for being here with us tonight, Sergio. As always, thank you so much for being on the comms with us. And yeah, we'll see you next Monday, same time, week 5 in Brazil. Take care, take it easy, and we'll see you when we see you.